grad student, or what you doing? So.
Okay, my name's John Ferrier. I go to UCA, University of Central Arkansas. I major in physics with a minor in math. As many of these people here probably wish to be an astronaut, it's going to be a long that question. As a prior active duty and now student, what do you suggest as steps to become an astronaut?
Okay.
As not necessarily as a pilot, but maybe
Right.
any other role.
Right, absolutely. You prior active duty?
Yes.
Army, Navy,
Air Force.
What'd you do in the Air Force? How many years?
You'll know this. I did 6 years as electronic warfare.
Oh yeah, yes. Electronic warfare. Airborne, surface, both, or
Mostly defensive.
Okay, yeah.
On trash haulers.
Okay, yeah, good deal. Yeah, becoming an astronaut. That NASA astronauts consist of two groups of people. They're pilots. All the pilots come from the military, either Navy or Air Force. Okay, and if you see somebody that says, well, Marine Corps, well, you may know Marines are naval aviators. Coast Guard are naval aviators. So all the pilots come from the military. Scientists obviously don't have to come from the military. So if you're interested in becoming an astronaut and going the science route, the basic requirements to apply are master's degree and 5 years experience in research, or PhD and 3 years experience research, and be able to pass the NASA Class 1 flight physical. So those are very broad, and consequently you get thousands of people to apply, which is what they want. So if you're serious about becoming an astronaut, you want the PhD, and you want the research experience. You want the research to be obviously something having to do with space. You don't want to conduct research like it has to be something having to do with space physics. So PhD level and research experience, and then be able to pass the Class 1 flight physical. I'm gonna tell you something else. Even though it's not a requirement, military experience helps. If you were applying and somebody else had exactly equal requirements, they would look at your Air Force background in EW, and that would give you a leg up. So it really does help, because the military really, in some way, operationally, prepares you for space flight. The things you do in the military are very similar to things that you do on your spaceship or space station. But again, you don't have to go to the military. Any others? I'm sorry? You have to be in good physical condition, but it's not a physical like you don't have to be a varsity athlete. What's more important is that you're in good medical health. Okay, you can't have unusual things like you cannot have had gallstones or kidney stones, or you can't have asthma, or you can't have a lot of things that you can't that will disqualify you. There are professional athletes who can pick 300 pounds or whatever, but they wouldn't qualify because of negative. So you want to be in good physical condition, but you also want to be in good medical condition. Eyesight for scientists, of course, is correctable, and there are certain bare minimums beyond which you're not correctable. I don't remember that, to be quite honest, but most people with good corrected vision, you could become you would meet the eye requirements. So good medical health. Oh, I forgot. Things are changing, and you folks know this. The big thing nowadays is the private commercial space companies, and they're right now resupplying the International Space Station and sending up satellites and things like that. But it won't be too long before they'll be sending astronauts into space. So another way to get to space as an astronaut is through one of the private companies. Nobody knows for sure what they're going to do, but I kind of think I know. They're going to initially select pilots, select their own pilots. Some of them will probably be former military people, not active, but former. Some will be former airline pilots, or people with civilian training only. And then they're also going to be flight attendants, and they'll be flight engineers. And then pretty soon, private companies will be conducting research in space, set up on private rockets. So that's another way to get to space. NASA is no longer the only game in town. So, but the same requirements are going to be necessary. You gotta have that good, solid scientific education, and people with the PhD level education are going to have a leg up, and people with operational experience and people with research experience. Operational meaning you have flight experience or something like that. You know how to operate complex things, and then research experience is obvious. So those are the three things that you need to look at. Teamwork is another. No Lone Rangers in a space program, either civilian or military. Because everything you do up there is team oriented. The success and safety depends on the team. So people with good social and teamwork skills. What else? There must be something else. Yes, sir.
Mike Vera, the faculty of USM, just wondering if there were any particular aspects of the science portion of your mission that stood out more?
Yes, my missions, well, let me tell you about, both my missions were billed as microgravity missions. And we conducted many, many microgravity experiments in space. For example, we grew plants in space, crystal growth experiments in space. And but the biggest thing that we did was really, they were really more engineering oriented because we were preparing to build an International Space Station. So the things I did were more along the lines of testing systems and procedures and tools to build an International Space Station. One of the things that was most interesting for me is when way back when, before my time, when the space station was first planned, the Russians were not involved. So it was planned to be an inclination of 28.5 degrees. When Russia made partners, Russians became partners in the International Space Program, it was changed to an inclination of 51.6, a higher inclination, so that they could launch from Russia and get to the station. Russia couldn't get there at 28.5. So my point is, 51.6 inclination. Everybody understands what I'm talking about? We have some freshmen in here. Nobody, everybody on this thing? Yeah, let's see if I can feel this. And physics professors, don't critique me here. Too bad. It's not showing up real well, but let's see if I can get another one. Anyway, that's my Earth. Kind of a oblong Earth. And this is my equator. Inclination essentially refers to the flight path of the vehicle as the vehicle orbits the Earth. And the inclination is essentially this angle here. So 28.5, let's see, 20.5 degrees. That was originally where the station was going to be built. But from Russia, if you launch from Russia on the other side of the Earth, the Russians can't get there. So when Russia became a partner, the inclination was changed to 51.6 up here, which allowed the Russians to be able to launch and get there. So my point is, this area, for any given altitude, it's colder. The environment is colder up there than it is here. So we're getting ready to build a space station. We had to modify the space suit because a lot of work would be done outside. One of my jobs on the space shuttle was a spacewalk EVA person. I put the suit on and went outside. EVA is extravehicular activity. So NASA modified the suit to handle those extremely cold temperatures. They put the suit on the flight ahead of mine. The astronauts went outside to test it, test improvements, and they got so cold they had to terminate the test and come back inside. They modified the suit again, put it on my flight, and I had to go outside and test it. And you go around the Earth every 90 minutes, essentially. So you got 45 minutes of daylight followed by 45 minutes of nighttime over and over and over again. During a one-night pass, I had to anchor myself outside the shuttle. And then they pointed the shuttle towards deep space to get me as cold as possible. And then during that 45-minute night pass, I had to activate the changes on the suit and then give them a commentary on how well the suit worked to keep me warm. And of course, on the flight previous to mine, it didn't work well. On my flight, the suit worked real well. So I gave them a running commentary over 45 minutes on how well the suit worked. So that was one of the things that really stand out in my mind, and something interesting to do and different to do that I got to work on. It's really interesting stuff. The suit, the space suit itself, and if you come at, I guess everybody will be at 7:30. I've got video and stuff like that. I'll actually show you mission videos at 7:30, so you see the suit. But I'll just tell you right now, it's a big white bulky thing. It weighs 350 pounds on Earth. And space is an amazing place because you can actually separate weight from mass. You can't do that regularly down here. But anyway, the suit itself has